Cold skies, empty roads. The wind screamed across the frozen land. Snow blew sideways. The sky above was not blue, it was gray, thick, and angry. Nothing lived here anymore. A group of aliens walked slowly across the ice. Their skin was pale. Their eyes were wide and tired. They were cold. Too cold. Most of them had no warm clothes. Their planet had been warm once, full of green hills and soft winds. But not now. The youngest child, no older than 5, held his father's hand. His fingers were purple from the cold. He did not cry. He had no energy left to cry. His father limped. His leg had been burned in the last attack. He left drops of blood. On the snow dot there were 10 of them in total. Refugees, survivors. The last of their kind. Maybe they had nowhere to go. Their ships were destroyed. Their homes burned. The sky that once protected them now watched like a silent judge. One of them, an older woman named Lyra, looked back. There was nothing. Just white land and empty wind. "We cannot keep walking," she said. Her voice was weak. "If we stop, we die," the father replied. "And if we go forward?" She asked. He did not answer. Suddenly, the wind changed. A strange sound came from the distance. A humming. Like a machine, but softer, almost like music. They all stopped. The humming grew louder. Lights appeared ahead, cutting through the snowstorm blue. Soft and steady, a shape moved within the lights. "Is it another drone?" someone asked. "No," Lyra whispered. "It walks." The figure stepped closer. It was tall. It wore a heavy coat, dark and thick. Its face was hidden under a clear helmet. Steam rose from its breath. It moved like no machine. The group backed away. The child clung tighter to his father. The figure raised one hand. Then, in a voice clear and human, it spoke. "Come with me." No one moved. The human stepped forward slowly, not fast. Not threatening. He opened a small case. Inside, gloves, energy bars, and heat packs. He placed them on the snow dot, then he stepped back. The aliens looked at the supplies, then at each other. "Why? Is he helping us?" Lyra asked. "I don't know," said the father. "But if he wanted to kill us, we would be dead already." The child took one step forward. Then another. He picked up a glove, trembling. He looked at the human. The human nodded once. The child put on the glove. It was warm. So warm. Slowly. The others followed. The human turned around and walked into the snow. He didn't wait for thanks. He didn't ask for trust. He just walked, and they followed. The snow grew thicker. But now they had gloves, food, and heat packs. Their hands stopped shaking. Their steps became faster. After almost an hour of walking, they saw it. A metal door built into the side of a hill, almost invisible under the snow. The human touched something on his wrist. A light blinked. The door opened. Inside was dark but warm. The human lit a lamp. The walls were old and rusty. Shelves held supplies, blankets, water, tools, cans of food with labels they couldn't read. The aliens stepped inside. The warmth hit them like a wave. The child laughed for the first time. The father cried. The human removed his helmet. He had short black hair and tired eyes. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. He said nothing. He walked to a corner, picked up a tool, and started fixing something. A machine, a heater, maybe. The group sat together. They ate. They rested. Lyra watched the human carefully. "Who is he?" she asked quietly. "No idea," someone replied. "Why would a human help us?" She whispered. "Humans started this war," the father said bitterly. "Maybe this one wants to end it. Or maybe he was the last one left." That night, while the others slept, Lyra stayed awake. She watched the human. He wasn't sleeping. He wasn't eating much. Either. He was writing something in a small notebook. Old paper. Old pen. She couldn't read the letters. but she saw one line repeated many times. We failed them. Lyra didn't understand the full meaning, but she felt something change in her heart. Maybe, just maybe, this human was not like the others, maybe. He had come to fix what others had broken. Outside, the storm howled, but inside, the fire burned. And in that moment, for the first time in weeks, they felt safe. Shelter under fire, the fire crackled softly inside the bunker. But no one slept. Not really. They lay under old blankets, eyes half closed, hearts still racing. Even in warmth, fear did not leave them, only the human moved. He worked. In silence, his hands moved fast, too fast for a normal person. Tools sparkled in the low light. Metal clicked. Wires connected. He was fixing something. Or building something that no one knew what. The small child peeked from under his blanket. He watched the man carefully. The human turned his head and smiled at the boy, but the smile did not reach his eyes. Suddenly, a loud beep echoed from one corner of the bunker. Everyone jumped. The human stood up fast, eyes locked on a blinking red light. Danger. He moved to a small black box on the wall. He pressed a button. A soft robotic voice said, unidentified movement. 2 kilometers. Heavy metal signature. Speed. Fast. The human didn't speak. He grabbed a long weapon from the wall. It wasn't like normal guns. It looked part human, part alien tech. He turned to the group. Stay quiet. Do not leave this place, he said. What's coming? Asked Lyra. The human looked at her. Then he said just one word. Hunters. They had heard the stories. Machines that never stopped, built by no one, controlled by no one. Once they locked onto life, they hunted until there was nothing left. Some believed they were made by humans long ago. Others believed they were mistakes. AI gone wild. All they knew now was this. If the hunters found them, they would not survive. The human opened a side door and stepped out into the snow. The wind screamed again. This time, it was not the cold that scared them. It was the silence that followed. Inside, the father stood up. His legs still hurt, but he reached for a sharp piece of metal. He was not ready to die doing nothing. Sit down, said Lyra. We have to help him, he said. No, she said. We have to trust him. He looked at her, surprised. Lyra never trusted humans, but tonight, something had changed. Outside, the human ran across the ice, silent as shadow. His eyes glowed slightly green circuits. Under his skin pulsed softly. He wasn't fully human. Not anymore. He reached a broken satellite dish buried under snow. He knelt, opened a panel, and pushed 2 wires together. The dish moved. It sent a signal, faint but sharp. Seconds later, the sky lit up. Bright flashes. Tiny drones. A trap. The hunter machine saw the lights and turned away from the bunker. It followed the signal. The human smiled, but he knew it would not be fooled for long. He ran back to the bunker. Inside, the refugees heard the far-off blasts. The child clung to his father. Then the door opened again. Snow fell in. The human stepped in. Covered in ice. He said nothing. He closed the door and locked 5 metal bolts across it. He sat down. His hand bled. The child brought him a cloth. The human looked at him, surprised. Then he laughed softly. You're braver than most soldiers I've met, he said. That night, while the group finally slept, Lyra walked to the machine he had been fixing earlier. It looked like a computer, but older, stranger. She pressed a button. The screen flickered. Blue light filled the room. Then, a voice. Base Echo 17, last human safe zone, coordinates unknown. If you are alive, send ID signal. Lyra's eyes widened. She turned to the human. He was already looking at her. She whispered. You knew this was here? He nodded. Then why haven't you called them? He paused, then said, because I'm not sure they'll want me back. The last map. The bunker lights flickered again. Old wires. Old systems. Not built to last this long, but something else was causing the lights to dim, something deeper. Underground. The child was the first to hear it. A slow, steady thumping. Like a heartbeat, but made of metal. He whispered to Lyra, "Something is down there." Lyra placed her ear to the cold metal floor. She heard it too. Boom. Pause. Boom. Not footsteps. Not machines. Something older. The human was quiet. He stared at the screen showing static blue light. The voice from the night before had not returned. No response. No signal. He reached under a metal table and pulled out a small flat box. Dust covered it. He blew across the top. It lit up, slowly. Lines began to move. Shapes appeared. A map. Old, cracked, not digital. Drawn by hand, but with strange marks. Human, alien, mixed. Lyra watched from the corner. "What is that?" she asked. The human didn't look up. "It's all that's left," he said, "of Earth's hope, or its shame." The group gathered around. There were circles on the map. Some had red X's, others were scratched out. Only one was still glowing. Base. Echo-17. It blinked faintly in a far corner of the page. The child asked, "Is it safe there?" The human looked at the blinking ... then said, "It's not about safe. It's about the truth." He placed his hand on the table. A small light scanned his palm. The map changed. New paths opened. Hidden locations. Notes. One said, "Final DNA. Protocols active. Cross-species match required." Another said, "Key must be carried by living code." They didn't understand, but the human did, and his face turned pale. Lyra whispered, "You have alien blood, don't you?" The human nodded. "My mother wasn't fully human." "Neither am I. That's why I can open this map." "Why show it to us?" The father asked. "Because the hunters are only the beginning," he said. "Something bigger is waking. It's under the ice. It's older than your people, and mine." He looked down at the map again. "We can't run anymore." Just then, the lights went out completely. Darkness. The heater clicked off. Silence fell. Then the floor shook. Once. Then again, from deep below. The human stood. Slowly, he grabbed a small metal disc from his coat and threw it against the wall. It stuck. Then it projected a 3D image, blurry, shaky, but real. A tunnel. A deep one. Opening on its own. Something was coming out. Something with arms like machines, but skin like bone. It wasn't just hunting them. It was replacing them. The human turned to the group. "We leave in 1 hour." "Where?" Lyra asked. He pointed at the blinking dot on the map. "To the last place Earth ever trusted." Snow fell like ash, but this wasn't snow anymore. It was too dark, too heavy. It carried a smell, metal, smoke. And something burned. The child said, "The sky feels angry." The human didn't answer. He just kept walking. Behind him, the group moved in silence, wrapped in whatever they had, blankets, parts of the human's old gear, and hope. Wearing thin. Every step they took left marks in the snow. But the real danger wasn't behind them. It was above. In the distant sky. 3 black dots moved in a slow triangle. Unmanned hunter drones. No sound. No light, but watching. Always watching. Lyra's feet slipped on the ice. She caught herself, then looked back. Nothing but endless white. "Still," she whispered. "They're following us." The human stopped suddenly. He crouched, pulled a small black cube from his coat, and pressed it into the snow. Tiny legs popped out. It dug itself in. "Tracker jammer," he said. "Will it stop them?" The father asked. "No," the human replied, standing. "It will slow them down just enough for us to see who dies last." They kept walking, for hours, their faces numb, their thoughts frozen. But something changed when they reached the ruins. Massive towers of black metal, broken and bent. Once human cities, now skeletons, signs in a lost language. Roads cracked open like wounds. In silence. Not peaceful silence. The kind that waits. The kind that watches. Inside one of the old buildings, the group stopped to rest. The child sat on a cracked bench and stared at the human, who was fixing something again, always fixing. What is that? The child asked. The human didn't look up. An old earth weapon. But I'm making it better. With alien parts? Yes. Are you a soldier? The human paused. Then said, No, I was never chosen to fight. I was built to survive. Meanwhile, Lyra walked through a hallway, eyes scanning the shadows. She passed an old mirror. For a moment, she saw something behind her, but when she turned, there was nothing. Then came the scream. From the roof. A guard they had posted. Gone. Not a drop of blood, just silence. The human rushed outside. He looked up. The sky flickered. Like static. Something moved across it fast. Not flying, falling, crawling through space itself. What was that? Lyra gasped. Cloak unit, the human said. New design. They can shift light, hide in day or night. How many? The human's eyes scanned the rooftops. More than enough. Suddenly, the ground shook. A long metal spike shot out. Of the earth an antenna, but wrong. It was alive. The human's voice turned sharp. Run! They ran, through ruined streets. Over broken bridges, down, empty subway tunnels. And still no sound from the enemy, only quiet, that terrible, waiting quiet. In the tunnel, they stopped to breathe. The child clutched his side. The human knelt. Checking the boy's pulse. You're strong, he said. I'm scared. The boy whispered. Good, the human replied. Fear means you're still alive. Lyra stared at the human again. This time, not with hate. But with a question. You knew they'd find us. Yes, why lead us here? The human stood slowly and said something none of them expected. Because this city hides the truth. And the truth is louder than anything they're chasing. A panel in the wall lit up beside them. It wasn't supposed to work, but it did. Soft voice whispered from it. Eco 17 signal detected. Please confirm human bonded presence. The human touched the panel. The voice continued. DNA match. Confirmed. Welcome, Project Bridge. Everyone stared at him. Project what? But before they could speak, a sound roared from the tunnel behind them, like iron breathing, like hunger given shape, and from the shadows, glowing eyes began to appear. Not one, not two. Dozens. Maybe more. The chase was over. The war had found them. The tunnel had no end. Or maybe it did. But the group had stopped believing in endings. They only believed in steps now. One step. Then another. And another, until your legs shook and your mind whispered, just fall. The child no longer cried. His face was blank, his eyes dry. Lyra carried him now. Even the human was slower. His breath fogged in the air. His left arm sparked something. Beneath his skin was broken, but he said nothing. They reached a chamber deep, underground. Circular. Quiet. But not dead. A machine stood at the center. Tall, black, smooth. Like a monument. A single blinking light pulsed on its surface. Blue, steady, patient. The human walked to it, then placed his hand on a glass pad. It did not respond. He tried again. Nothing. He stepped back and looked at the group, then said, It wants a voice, not a hand. No one understood, except the child. He stepped forward. His voice was soft, shaking, but clear. He said, We're still here. The light blinked twice. Then the machine came alive. Screens lit up. Around the walls, symbols, maps, voices overlapping. Old logs, broken languages. Then one voice rose above them all. Feminine. Kaon. Human. This is Commander Riva of Earth, Outpost Echo 17. If you're hearing this, you're not alone. Everyone froze. The child whispered, That's her. That's the voice. From the satellite. Lyra nodded slowly. The father held his breath. The human didn't move. He stared at the speaker with something. More than memory. Something like guilt. The message continued. We failed them. The others. The ones we promised to protect. But if you can reach us, we can start again. Not rebuild. Rethink. Reset. The message glitcheg. Then stop. Silence. Then, suddenly, the screen flickered again. A new voice. Not a recording. Real-time.rough. Mail. Who's accessing this line? Identify now. The human stepped forward. This is Project Bridge. A long pause. That project was shut down. The human's eyes narrowed. But I'm still here. Then you're not supposed to be. The screen went dark. Fear filled the room like water in a sinking ship. Lyra turned to him. They don't want you? No, he said. They never did. I wasn't made to save humans. He pointed to himself. I was made to connect them. Behind them, the tunnel. Lights flickered, then died. Footsteps. Not footsteps. Drags, scrapes, crawls. The hunters were back. But now, something else was with them, something older. The human looked at the machine. It blinked again. One last message printed on the screen. Final base signal active. Countdown. 72 hours. After that shutdown permanent. Lyra stepped forward. What does that mean? The human answered without blinking. It means we have 3 days to reach the last light on this map. Or we disappear forever. The mountain did not welcome them. It rose like a dead giant, sharp and frozen, cutting into the sky. No path. No signs, no sound, only cold wind and something deeper below the stone that seemed. Awake. The human stopped at the mountain's base. His fingers touched a jagged rock, then slid across it like he was reading a memory. I've been here before, he said softly. Lyra asked, when? He didn't answer. He only pressed his palm into the rock. It lit up faint lines of blue light, running like veins through the stone. The mountain opened. The group stepped inside. No one spoke, even the child, who once asked 100 questions a day, held his tongue. Inside was not like a cave. It was a machine. Walls of metal, floors of glass that lit up under each step, but nothing moved. No guards, no voices, no heat. Just a hallway that led down. And down and down. They reached a vast room. Dark. Silent. Then, with one blink of the human's eye, the lights snapped on. The room came alive. Rows of cryosleep pods stood in circles, glowing with pale white light. Some were empty, some were cracked, but a few still held. People. Sleeping. Breathing. Waiting. The child stepped close to one pod and placed his hand on the glass. Inside, a woman floated peacefully, wires in her arms, a calm face. Is she alive? He asked. The human nodded. She was one of the first. Earth's last scientists. This base was meant to hold knowledge, and those chosen to protect it. Why didn't they wake up? Lyra asked. They were supposed to wake when the war ended, the human said. He looked around. It never did. Suddenly, alarms echoed through the chamber. Red lights, motion detected. The screen flashed. Unauthorized breach. Genetic anomaly. Detected. Lyra turned. Is it the hunters? No, the human said, looking down at his shaking hand. It's me. He stepped to the center of the room. A tall, glowing pillar stood there. A command node. He touched it, and everything changed. Holograms lit up the air. Memories of war, plans of machines, experiments. Thousands of files, some human, some alien, all connected. The group watched, speechless. And in the center of it all, a file called Project Bridge. The human opened it. Lines of code danced across the air, created to be both. Not soldier, not savior, a key, a translator, a living piece. The father whispered, you weren't just made to survive. The human nodded. I was made to unlock the future. Suddenly, a soft chime echoed. One pod at the far end began to open. Steam poured out. A figure stepped forward. A woman. Not young. Not old. Strong. She looked at the human. Her voice was dry but steady. You came back. The human lowered his head. Didn't know if I should. She stepped closer, placed a hand on his shoulder. You always had a choice. Now make another one. She turned to the others. Welcome to Echo 17. You are not the last. But you might be the first. Of something. New. Then the mountain shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. The hunters had arrived. The countdown on the wall blinked. 15 hours remaining. The human looked around. This is our last chance. He reached for a control panel. The woman looked at him and asked, What will you do? He answered, What I was made for. I'll open the door. Hope reprogrammed the door. Was not a door. It was a choice. Steel thick as memory. Sealed for decades. No handle. No lock. Only a voice that whispered from the control panel. Final access requires living key. Warning, one-time sequence. The human placed his hand over the reader. Pause. He looked back at the group. At the boy, the father, Lyra. He smiled gently. I was built to connect, but someone has to stay to hold the signal open. The child took a step forward. No, you come with us. The human shook his head. If I go with you, the gate closes forever. No more messages, no more new arrivals, no more second chances. He knelt beside the boy. You said once you were scared. The boy nodded. Me too, said the human. But being scared means you still believe there's something to lose. That's what makes you human. Above, the mountain rumbled. Outside. Machines swarmed like a dark storm. Inside. Time ticked down. 10 hours. Then 9, then 8. Lyra approached him. You were never just a project, she said. You were a bridge, yes, but now you are a path. The human touched the final key on the console. It turned red. Then white. The door hissed. Opened. Behind it. A hidden launch hangar. A sleek, half-built starship waited, powered by old Earth tech and alien fusion cells. A gift from 2 dying civilizations, unfinished until now. The woman from the cryopod stepped forward, awe in her eyes. They said, this ship could find new worlds, places where no war ever touched the ground. The father asked, can it carry all of us? Yes, she said. If someone stays behind to keep it powered long enough. The human walked with them to the ship, checked each system. Activated. The fusion core. Wired in final power lines. His body sparked again. The mix of human blood and alien code inside him was burning out. He stood at the loading ramp and looked. One last time at the stars above. Then, at the child. I was made to follow. Orders, he said quietly. But today, I choose. The child reached out, but the door began to close. Too late, the ramp lifted. The engines hummed from the wall. His voice echoed through the ship. You're not the last, you're the first. Remember that. Outside, the hunters crashed. Into the mountain. Inside. Light exploded from the launch hangar as the ship lifted. Fire. Smoke. Snow. Then silence. Above the clouds. The stars opened, and the ship Echo Reborn pierced through the dark. The child stared out the window. In his small hand. He held something, a metal chip. The last message from the human. Just 3 words burned into its surface. Hope is learned, and far below, buried in stone and ice, the human sat in front of the old terminal, smiling as the system powered down. He had no weapon. No army, but he had done what no war ever could. He had rewritten the ending.